Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is a presentation of the Civil 3D Utilities for 2021. It is the IMAGINiT toolset that we've developed for Civil 3D, and it is a version of what you've seen before. We do have a 1E toolset that I would like to show off in this particular presentation, and it will be shown off on 2021. This toolset is available for earlier releases. As we move on forward here. My name is Leo Labai, and I work for IMAGINiT. I'm one of the infrastructure specialists within our team, and I've been working on this side of the industry for about 17 years now, and I pretty much do AutoCAD, map, and civil. So all that has to do with that civil engineering industry, I'm your guy. What we're going to be looking at here is this is a little comparison matrix that we have for our utilities. I show it to 2018. I believe we started this utility set back to 2016. And these came from requests from our users. There were real world needs from surveyors and engineers about things they wish Civil 3D could do a little bit better. And from our side, just a couple of guys just did a little bit of coding and just added a little bit here and there. And it grew to be an actual utility set, a toolbar that installs with Civil 3D. You can see a couple of them. I'm going to go through the PowerPoint presentation. And looking at the IMAGINiT toolset here, we do have a lot that's available that works with a lot of the civil objects. It really has a great function around piping, but it does do a little bit more. These are just some of the tools that we have readily available. Working with auto offset, this came from the surveying side, where we're able to label Civil 3D points in reference to an alignment. Not only generate a report later on, but creating automated labels that give us information for survey data, great for stakeout purposes. When we look at creating reports as well, not only the on-screen label, but able to kick out a report. Although yes, Civil can do this, ours is a little bit better because you can customize that printout very, very easily. The beautiful part about it is, again, making reference to an alignment. Working with Google and Bing, depends how long you guys have been working with Civil 3D. You guys remember when we used to be able to bring in Google imagery and terrain? Well, we added that. And although you can do Bing imagery today through the Autodesk 360 account and being able to bring in via geolocation, what we have here is a tool that, without creating anything special other than our tool set, you can bring in aerial imagery if you prefer one or the other, and terrain via USGS. So it's really nice. Again, it's as good as it is free. So for the what if scenario, trying to get a watershed analysis, just to get a glimpse of an area you're working with, it's an incredible tool set that pulls free data, and it's all in one spot. Piping, there's just amazing tools inside of here. Now, once again, we can apply rules, we can edit a singular pipe or a singular structure, but what we did was really drill into this. We have awesome little tools to edit a series of pipes based upon elevations, or maybe based upon slopes, or swap multiple parts, which is really, really nice. And although you are able to edit individually, the option to edit dynamically and quickly several pipes. And one of my favorite things from the grading side was the grading quick editor. We have an amazing pipe quick editor. Also in this year release, new to 2021, is the fact that we can look at two pipes and looking at the crossing and looking at the elevation of two crossing pipes based upon the bottom, the center, or the top portion of the pipe. So that's really new for 2021. Everything else has been slight enhancements, but the new one is that one, the pipe clearance. Feature lines dealing with either survey data or civil data. The problem is when it comes to dealing with basic AutoCAD. You may want to keep that 3D line, but basic AutoCAD, you guys know we want to do 2D, and basic AutoCAD just does not support 3D curves. And what happens if you try to make that smart 3D curve into a 2D curve, it gets about a gazillion vertices. So what we did here is a tool set that helps us extract a flat 2D curve from a complex 3D feature line. So on the surveying side, on the grading side, we can generate that line work that allows us to AutoCAD things out. There is this awesome little auto offset as well. Although yes, you're able to create points manually in this fashion, we combo up a couple things inside of here to be able to stake out a feature line, very specifically to a feature line. And what it does is gives you options to per interval or per distance or per location, also per an offset, it's really great for stakeout. For a lot of my clients that like to get that stakeout 1 foot behind the back of curb, you extract a feature off the back of curb and bam, you can get that information immediately and allowing you to create a point group on the fly. It's really a combo of tools that, yes, although Civil can do it, we do it better for you with this tool set. The last and one of my favorite pieces here that I like a lot, being able to create a profile via a set of points. And what I'm going to show off is really what we see inside of here. There's going to be no civil surface, no civil alignment. And this works great for the example I'm going to show is really sounding depths. But we have had occasions, I'm sure, that you've gotten a survey, and you either get a simple cross section from a survey or the path for a proposed location, typically of some sort of utility, and all you get is a handful of shots, not enough to create a terrain. But throughout those series of shots, you have the path that you would like to create a section from. And we're not going to create a cross section. It is on the fly, based upon your selections, going to create an alignment profile for you. Really, really hot. I used to have a whole workflow for this, and we just combo it up into a really, really sleek tool here. Being able to deal with KMLs and KMZs, although yes, we're able to kick out to KML, KMZ, to import is what we were missing. And well, IMAGINiT did it here for us. So if you have a little bit of time to play with Google Earth and kind of sketch something out there, or maybe one of your clients sketch something out and you want to bring into your maps here, we're able to do that with this KML import. Now, of course, I'm going to show this in Google Earth so you can see it in real world what it would look like and what happens when you bring it into Civil 3D. It's a sleek little tool. Style renamer, although this is more along the lines of CAD management, the reality is this: we can at times get somebody else's civil drawing and all of their styles and inherit all that stuff. And trying to kill off those styles is going to be tough because then you can kill off all the civil data. What you can do, either on the CAD management side or on the case you get somebody else's drawing, you can run through the setup here to do a find and replace and rename. And that way you can take somebody else's styles and put them at the bottom with the Z. Or in case you're removing from an earlier release or want to change your acronym, whatever it might be, just go throughout the entire drawing and rename some styles really quickly. Now, I'll end up with this slide here. You can get all these tools a little bit later here. I'll show where you're at just directly from our page. You can talk to your sales rep manager, and we'll get you these tools here. We can give you a little trial for them. But I'll return to this page as I come back to this presentation. What I would like to do is jump directly into Civil 3D, specifically my release of 2021. So this is our 2021 interface here. The first one I would like to talk about here is just focus your attention here is on the top, on the IMAGINiT toolbar here. This is what you get. You have a series of buttons, and these buttons have grown from it used to just be a single command to now it's a tool palette up here. And I'm going to start with this auto offset label. And what we do is we give it some styles for the left-hand side and the right-hand side, so we get some labels, the marker style that we're going to be looking with, the alignment that we're going to be make reference to, and how far off of that alignment you want to look at points. Now I can do all the points, or really what I'm going to do here is be a selection. I'm going to go here and hit apply and say, well, what I would like to do is go out here and take a look at a selection of points. I'm just going to grab a couple of these guys here just as an example, and I want to make sure that I pick a little bit on the left and a little bit on the right. Just so you see how our labels get placed here. We get labels on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. There's a built-in offset for those. And what you can see inside of here is that that point got labeled for me. And really what we're looking at here is at an alignment label type. And this alignment label type picked up my point number, the station that particular point is coming into, the distance, and the description on that point. So on screen, I can get a really quick stakeout of data, whether it's existing or proposed. Really, I'm thinking perhaps along the lines of doing a stakeout for catch basins or something like that. And the really cool part about it is I can't isolate it to a point group. So when you use this command, you may have a point group that is specific stakeout locations or maybe some utilities, and you can just say, hey, this point group, label those. That's really what's important. I like that a lot. Now, because I'm dealing with points right now, what I would like to do is just talk about the other option for point reporting. And yes, although you're able to run a point report and extractions via your toolbox here, or you can just write out a text file, what is really awesome inside of here is the fact that I can create my own report by just dragging and dropping or moving into what my report is supposed to look like. The beautiful part about this, it can make reference to an alignment. And in this case, all I'm going to do here is hit OK and kick out this report in an HTML format via a, let's see here, let's do a window selection. And I'm just going to grab a couple of these points. I'm going to call this out test. And I'm going to grab a couple of these points here on the screen. And what we get is a quick little report that looks something like this. And there it is. Yes, you could do something very similar from the out of the box tool, but what I'm able to do here is pair this up with an alignment. And I can adjust so easily this report by just adding or removing columns. So I think it's really neat that I'm able to create a report for my stakeout so quickly. For the surveying side, for maybe monumentation, or maybe from the engineering side, a stakeout, or maybe for landscapes folks to be able to get those tree locations.
I have the option to import from Google, and I get a dialog box for that. I also have the very similar option to import from Bing. It's straight up almost the same exact thing. Now, the import from Bing, guys, is very much as using the geolocation tab. If you happen to have the geolocation tab up and running, great. The deal is our toolset came before this tab was opened up for the public. So that's why we have on our IMAGINiT tab both the Google and the Bing option. Now, the beautiful part about this is whether you use the Google or the Bing option, it does not require you to have an Autodesk 360 account. That's one of the bigger differences than the Autodesk toolset. Now, it does require for the geometry to be placed correctly in space. And in this case, you will notice that I am D-view twisted. North is actually facing here to the right-hand side. So as I run this tool set, I'm going to use the Google option because that's the one people typically miss the most. I'll go ahead and bring that in, and I can focus on a certain portion of my area here. Now, the imager here is north facing north, and you'll see that my roadway is east-west, but really the roadway is north-south here. Now, this toolset pretty much works the same for both Google and Bing Maps. I'm just going to demonstrate the Google one because that's the one that people think about. And what I have here is the option of bringing in just the image or the surface only, or both the image and the surface. I'm going to go ahead for that one. Looking at this site here, yes, I do have survey data on my screen, but just thinking about being able to bring this information from Google, I'm going to go ahead and bring that in here. Both choose the image and the tin, and as I go ahead and hit OK, I'm prompted with a dialog box. The tin you're about to create, how dense would you like it to be? Now, this is only as good as the USGS data that's being pulling from here. If you want to try to bring this down to something crazy like a 5-foot grid, you can try doing that. It's not going to necessarily make it more accurate. It's just creating a more dense surface from the original point data that was available out there. Now, the smaller the box inside of here, the more, or the smaller distance, the more points you're going to create. This number is going to play a huge role on how long it's going to take as I hit OK from this box and it starts creating that tin in the background. So let's make this a little bit more demo specific. How about we do a 20 by 20? How about a 25 by 25 grid? All right, cool. 493 points in the area that you're actually seeing on the screen. So it's going to create this image, get that snippet, create the terrain from the background there for me. And as I hit OK, it's going to go through and process that. Now, we're at the mercy of the internet gods here. Yes, your machine is going to play a role here, but it's pulling this information from the web. So your internet speed and the services from Google are going to play a role in how long this box is actually going to take through and crunch the numbers and crunch the values. Of course, that density on that grid, I could have gone up to 30 or 50 and you would be able to see a much lighter surface being created. So there's a connection, and there is the object creation that's happening here in the background. And also broadcasting this, so that's going to take it even a second longer there to go ahead and process. But then I get, boom, on the screen, a terrain and imagery. So go over here to the Prospector tab under Surfaces. There's a surface that came from that Google terrain. I also have an image in the background here that I can take on the image and pick on it, get some image options, and I can take it, and how about we take that image and let's send it to the back. And there I get that gridded tin. I get data. So that's what we have there. The image should, if we are working with my data being correctly positioned in space, it should pull it and drop it into the correct location on screen here. So I know that I am geo-referenced correctly on screen as this survey was brought in. So that's how we're able to bring that. All right. And the process is the same using the input from Google and the input from Bing. It is a very, very similar process. I just focus on the Google tool.
So I have a simple pipe run here, and it's really easy to talk about pipes when it's a simple run. And I'm going to choose from the beginning to the end here just to show off, although you can choose how many pipes you want to work with. The beauty of these tools that can be used in plan or in profile view. And what I'm going to do here is just talk about pipes first, and I have a corridor sitting there in the background. Let's make our life a little bit easier, and let's hide that corridor there. And I really just want to focus on the use of the, the the elevations here. You can see I'm starting at 621, ending at 611 here. And what I would like to do is start talking about some of these tools, and I would like to just adjust for grade. And I am going to start from the beginning to the end, and these tools can be used in plan or in profile. That's the beginning, and here is the end. And what I would like to do is adjust from my starting invert at 621 at a negative 2% all the way throughout. And don't blink because you're going to miss it. Down here at the profile view, as I go down negative 2%, I'm going to get a drop across my structure of 0.1, and there's my design. Now, for those who have this tool set or would like to learn a little bit more about the magic, there are some options for dealing with this tool set. So it's really important to look at these options over here. I am designing by invert, not the centerline or the crown, depends where you want your pipes to match. I am moving at grade, G for grade, not S for slope, and whether or not you want to apply rules. So be careful with this guy right here. You can try to alter your designs there. So you can say never, you can get prompted to apply rules if you want to. There is an option to add a drop at null structures, which can be kind of goofy depending on how you're working with your null structures. So just be aware of that there. And the first one was grading. So I just told it the beginning elevation 621, and it went down negative 2%. Now there is an option to elevate or drop. I might change my elevations to raise or drop my design. And I'm going to do the whole pipe again here. Now it's really easy when it's a straight shot like this, just a singular trunk line. When you have laterals, you'll have to then choose to pick the beginnings and ends and pick in the middle. But please note, very similar how I apply rules inside of Civil 3, can pick the first one, and I can pick on the last structure over here, and I'm able to run this design, and I could say, hey, raise and lower. Let's lower this. Let's go out for lower, and let's lower it 2 feet. And you can see how my network just kind of pops there. And if you blinked, you missed it. I was at 621 earlier. Now I'm at 619. So you can see how those labels start, of course, updating immediately. Now, this is really on the engineering side. It's so easy to set these elevations. And the other option that I have here is to deal with my pipes inverts themselves and say, hey, let's go ahead and start with this structure over here and that structure over there and deal with the inverts. So let's say let's raise this back up at 621 again as a starting point, not 21, Leo, 621. That would be a crazy drop. And I want to end at a particular location. You know, we have a particular, in this case, I don't know, finish flared end section, a pond elevation that I want to go into. And what I'm going to do here is tell it I would like to end at 610. So I have a known beginning and a known end that I want to work with. And it's asking me, hey, what would you like to do as far as the drop across structures? Please note what it did for me. It knows where it starts, it knows where it ends, and it averaged out the grade for me. So it's giving me that calculation there on what it potentially is going to do to my network, to, in this case, doing it to the entire run, or it could be doing to just a couple handful pre-selected entities. I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter there, and that's what happened to my design there. As I start at 621 and end at 610, that's what it did to my entire design. So not quite working the way rules work, very similar to how rules work, but a little bit more intuitive onto the engineering side and establishing those grades and elevations. I know that when Civil 3 first came out and I did my first project, was really trying to demonstrate this. This was a bit of a tough of an idea to try to apply with rules and get what I wanted to, or go into structure pipe, and edit these individually. Now I can do it immediately here. Now, there is the other option for quick edits. This is coming from grading. And as you hover over a pipe here, you can look at the arrowhead there and choose the way you would like to grade. And I can go -4 as an example there, and you can see how that pipe then shifts for me there. Or as I hover at the edge of the pipe, you'll notice on the left and the right of that structure, I get 2 icons because I'm looking at the inverts on both sides. I can say, hey, what I would like to do is modify that invert, maybe raise it or lower it, and it's at 617. What if I go up to 616? So I have the options of kind of like that grading tool to make changes immediately. I think it's pretty neat that I'm able to just go inside of here and just run these edits on screen without having to go, get stuck into structure properties or the pipe properties, and it's really immediate inside of here. Now, the last part, what's new, is the pipe clearance utility, that you get an actual label inside of here. And if you guys would allow me to, I already had this created in my previous one. Let's go here and create very quickly a pipe network here, just a lateral for us. And we're going to go here. And all I'm going to do is create a pipe network that goes across the way. So I have a pipe crossing, right? And what is that invert there? You know, I could try to get that pipe as being projected on my profile, whatever it might be. But in my case, my IMAGINiT toolset, new to 2021, is the ability of saying, hey, this is my first pipe, this is my second pipe, and I get a label. Label that I can take, of course, and drag out of here. And I can see what that is. So it gives me the location of where that's at the screen there. And of course, this label can be modified to do a little bit more. I think it's a really neat utility that we have here. It's new to this year. If I go here to the options, you can tell it how much information you want to see. That's the distance between the pipes. That's the location of the crossing. I can get a little bit more information. Yes, it's an exaggerated drop there. Let me see if I can take these two pipes. It says 612 feet. It is because it's crazy large of a drop. So if I put these in screen, that's why it's 612 feet, because they are that far apart. I think I forgot to set the surface. It's probably going down to 0. So that's what's going on there. I like that at that location. So you don't have to guess. You don't have to create one alignment, a secondary alignment to put two crossings. It just creates it for you. It looks at it and is able to create that new to 2021. Again, showing what we're able to do with our packages here. All right, let's see what's next. I have offset points. Okay, this is a nice utility. Yes, I have all my drawings set to read only because I end up accidentally saving my demos. This is pretty much the file that I always use to demo. So what I have here is a corridor, right? And I have this 3D corridor. And what I did to this 3D corridor is I extracted the back of curb. So I have that right there. So I'm going to create, let's say, a stakeout for my back of curb. And that's what you're pretty much seeing here on the screen for me. That I have already extracted for myself. So let's take a look at that here. And I'm going to hide the corridor just so it doesn't get in the way. I'll go here and hide the object. And there is that feature line extracted. It's an intelligent feature line. Matter of fact, it's an intelligent feature line that is still tied to my corridor dynamically. So it's not an embedded feature line. It has to be a feature line that I can actually touch. In this case, we chose to extract it. So what we're going to do here is use my option. And what I'm going to do here is create my toolset, my offset points. And I can select the feature line. Please note the command line, feature line. And once I pick on it, come on, buddy. It's going to give me a dialog box. Now, what offset distance would I would like? You know, I could be right on top of that line, or I could be a foot off of it. You know, if it was a back of curb, I want to do 1 foot off the back of curb. The spacing through it, I'm going to say, I don't know, 50 feet for the purposes of class. The point description, I'm just going to go here and call it, I'm just going to call it BOC. Starting number 1, and what elevation I would like to use, I would like to add the feature line elevation. I would like to create a point group so I can create a stake out of this, BOC stakeout. So I can, if I need to, can create a text file off of it. And I have extra options to create points at all the vertices as well, and the points of curvature and tangency. So I can see that right here. So I've had the problem where people forget to put the values inside of here. If you forget to put the value specifically for the spacing, nothing's going to happen. So fingers crossed. Let's go 100, and I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And if we wait for it, bam, there are my points. So what we get here is at every 100 feet, I got that. In addition to that, at every vertice point on that line. So wherever the corridor's crossing, I get that extra location. And I can go back up here and look at my point groups, and I have my stakeout point group that I can take and start looking at. Well, maybe taking these points and kicking them out. So there are different ways of creating that stakeout instead of trying to create points by line. Yes, we do have very similar options from within the software to create points based upon line work, but this just is a little bit more user-friendly. And more specifically here, I also chose to give it an offset. Please note that it's not on the line, it's a foot off of it. So for some of my clients that have been wanting to do stakeout at an offset of an existing line work there, bam, there it is. I think it's really, really nice that I can run through something like this. Let's see here. What else do I have? Profile from points. Oh, this guy right here is really great. So what I have here is I would like to open this up. And what I'm going to do here is choose to show this off. Now, I don't need to have an alignment and I don't need to have a surface. This is a drawing that we put together for a client that was looking at soundings off of Virginia Beach. And what we have are all the little dots that you see across the top there are the sounding locations. And what I'm going to do is just connect the dots and create an alignment profile on the fly here for us. So I think it's a really incredible tool set, because what I had years ago developed was a workflow to pretty much do exactly what I'm going to show here next. And we're just going to pick, and create these cross sections, which are really going to be alignments. So you can see how this is real world live of a set of locations here. And I can set the location that I want to work here. And this tool is very specific the way it also would like to work. I've had a lot of clients forget to give a name and it just doesn't work out. So it's the option for points to profile. I don't have to have a surface. So if all you have is a series of points, I can go here and say points from profile. And what I'm going to do here next is choose the series of points that I want to work with. I can do all the points, point in a point group, in a window selection, in a numeric range, or just select them from the drawing. But this is the important here part. You have to give it an alignment and a name here. I'm just going to call this section 1. And I'm going to call here this section 1 as well. You can call it alignment section 1 or section 1A, section 1 profile, whatever you need to. But if you don't set those, it's going to be really important. That's the profile style and the grid style that I'm going to be working with. This is, of course, part of my drawing. All these styles are there. I can go ahead and hit OK here. And I'm just going to manually pick on a couple of these little markers. There's a first marker, second marker, and next location and next location. If you look at my command line, it's telling me, hey, this point was added, that point was added, and that point was added. I just did a handful of them. I'm just gonna go here and hit enter. And it goes through and it actually creates an alignment. Can you guys see those labels back there? It creates an alignment and it prompts me to, hey, where would you like to put this profile view at? So I'm just gonna zoom out just a little bit and pop a grid out here on the screen somewhere. My imagery is taking quite a bit of space here, so I'm going to turn off that geolocation imagery from Bing Maps, and going to free up a little bit of more space here. So allow me to go over here to geolocation. This is not the image that comes from IMAGINiT. This is the standard geolocation piece. So here we go, guys. So what I have here is I connected the dots, it created an alignment, and it created a profile for me. So if you're doing more of that stream restoration, your surveyor picked up cross sections every 100, every 200 foot, you don't have enough to really create a 10. Or maybe your surveyor gave you a series of shots where you're thinking about putting a sewer line or water line down. You don't have enough to create a 10. That's okay. Just connect the dots, have the software pop out an alignment and profile for you, and you have something you can work with. This right here is really, really awesome. All right, here, what else do I have is the style rename. This is more of a CAD management piece. It does work really great if you get somebody else's styles, or if you're updating styles. You can just take the old ones, call them 2008, 2009, and work with trying to duplicate or recreate them. But what I would like to show off here is I do have a series of I'm going to do surfaces. And I have IMAGINiT at the beginning here as a prefix, whatever I would like to do here. But looking at that, maybe what I would like to do is abbreviate or move to the beginning or the end. So all I'm going to do here is look at my option 2, do style renamer. And I can do my entire drawing because that might take a little bit too long. I'm just going to really focus on surfaces as an area. So I'm going to go here and just say, hey, let's take a look at surfaces. And what I'm going to do is just rename those styles. I can choose even a handful of them that I would like to rename. And I'm just going to say, hey, what I'd like to do is replace the text, IMAGINiT, and I would like to maybe abbreviate IMGT, IMGIT, whatever it might be. I would like to replace that text. And I can just say, hey, rename that, found 15 of them, exit out, and you can see how it, I forgot to put a space on it, but now it actually ended up changing that name there. So it's an option. So it goes to the screen and just kills them all off and adds it or removes it, which is really great, especially if you get somebody else's drawing. You just put a Z in front of it and kill them all off and bring it up to the bottom or something like that. I think it's a neat little tool set for us to work with. So this is going to work with survey figures, or it's going to work with any of the grading figures that we create. And what I would like to do is show off what happens when you explode a figure line with a curve by itself, and then using our tool set here. So, all right, there we go. So I'm gonna go here into any one of these guys that has an arc. So if I take this guy right here and just plain AutoCAD explode it, you'll notice that it then turns from what was a beautiful arc to a whole bunch of segments, which makes sense because AutoCAD just does not support 3D curves. It doesn't know what to do with that spiral. So what we did is implement a tool that would take that information and flatten it out for us. In this case, this is a survey figure, as you'll notice up here, it recognizes it as such. And the tool set for us over here on the IMAGINiT side is flatten and explode. Now, as I take that here, we are prompted down here the command line say, hey, what do you want to do with that original line work? Which is very important if you're using it as a break line or you're using it for something else, or on the grading side, you're using it for design. Be careful because you may want to keep it. So it's asking, do you want to erase it? For the purpose of this session, I'm going to say yes, just to get rid of it and not have it in my way. More than likely, you're going to say no. And it places it on my current layer, and you'll see here that it is curves, and now it's basic elevation 0. So it really helps me with all my drafting, all that planimetric stuff, being able to do measurement, adding some hatches, maybe some trimming. So it's a neat little tool set that helps me transition from that 3D line work to 2D line work that's usable for drafting. So you can see here it's all flattened out at 0. And there it is. It is the flatten and explode feature line. The last one is dealing with a KMZ file. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work with this drawing. And although, yes, we'd like to point out that out of the box, we do have the option to export to a KML or KMZ, but we don't have anything to consume from it. So as I open this up, I would like to address your attention that from the Toolbox tab that is there, in earlier releases, it was an add-on little package that we had to get into. That's pulling there. And all right, so this is my aerial imagery. It's just the site that I'm working with. I do want to show off that over here from the toolbox, we are able to export, but the importing part is a really cool part here. And what I'm going to do is start this command. It does take it a little bit of time depending on how much line work you're bringing in. I'm just going to go ahead and choose it to bring it in. And I would like to show this on Google Earth because I would like to talk about what you get and what there is. You'll see here there's quite a bit of line work here, and along with that there is a different set of colors and scheme that is available here. So if maybe someone just put together a little sketch, a client was talking about, hey, I'm interested in this lot, and put a little bit of line work, or you yourself just we're digitizing and doing a little bit of work here, we are able to take it directly into Civil 3D with our utilities. And what that ends up looking like here is just a base set of line work that comes in. And as it pops in, you'll notice here it does take it a minute. I had a pre-cooked drawing a little bit ago, not to sit here and wait for it to spin. It all comes in a singular layer, whatever your current layer is. In this case, it's layer 0, and that's what it's going to come into. What I did here is just standard, so it kind of blends into, I guess, the two questions that you put there together. This drawing over here for my settings tab, I go to my drawing settings, and this is set to the Virginia State Plane Coordinate System. So Google is based upon the LL83. So as long as I set a coordinate system inside of Civil 3D, it would take that and translate it and put it right in space correctly. So make sure that your Civil 3D drawing has a coordinate system set to it. Yes, and these are tools that came in from real world need, guys. So if you don't see what you want here today, or would like to have something be added, every year we go through internally on, hey, what are the wish lists for our tool sets? I'm not guaranteeing that they're going to get popped in and populated, as it's something that we do put some effort in, and it's free to our client base. It is something that you can purchase if you don't have them, but it is something that's being updated. And going back to our presentation here, you can download a free trial so to test them out. I believe it's a 30-day trial that you can get through your sales rep, or if you don't know who it is, email us and we can put you in contact with them. That way you can get a 30-day trial to see if it's something that you would like, see something that you could use. But it is something that is being updated year after year, guys. And as I go back here to the comparison matrix, you'll see how we get anywhere between 1 to 3, maybe 4 tool sets year after year, and they're readily available. There's quite a bit of bulk on the piping side. There is quite a bit on the point processing or point surveying or stakeout side as well. So it is a tool set that will continue to grow and will continue to be, as of right now, has been free to anyone who's a subscriber through us. So just to let you know, my name is Leo Levian. I work with IMAGINiT, and I'm part of the Civil team. That's my email. And if I'm not doing a presentation, or if I'm not doing a class, I'm usually doing support or doing some type of technical work with the Civil 3D package. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have a question or comment, or if you would like to get Civil 3D working better for you. We've been in the business for a very, very long time. We have a very large team of mechanical, civil, and architectural experience. So we're really here to help you make the most out of your software.